Hi, I'm Breandax,
And I'm T.
and we're going to listen to some music.
You know, I haven't heard from good old Lorde recently. From across the pond over in New Zealand. You know Lorde?
Your mate Lorde.
My mate
Your
Lorde.
close mate Lorde.
I haven't heard from Lorde since Melodrama. And I thought, there's a release out. It might be about time.
Okay.
What's your experience with Lorde been in the past?
Royals,
I think everyone's had
obviously.
that experience.
I'm sure that there are songs from Melodrama that I would have heard of, like just being out in the supermarket.
You would have heard like Green Light and probably a couple of others.
Oh, that rings a bell. Something about tennis courts.
That was the first album.
That was the first
Deep
album.
cut, first album, yes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed Melodrama. And I'm pretty sure from memory that's a Jack Antonoff produced album who fans of the band Fun might know from there, but most likely you'll know from Taylor Swift, you'll know a few others that I'm forgetting. I think he's worked with Carly Rae Jepsen a few
As a
times.
producer or as a featured artist?
As a producer, he's also an artist.
So then would people know him from Taylor Swift?
I think so.
Are people
yeah.
really that into knowing who the producers are behind songs?
For like a Taylor Swift?
Really?
I think so. Pure Heroine, first album, obviously Royals was from it. I remember that being my first ever live concert, like just out of high school, I'm pretty sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was also really trippy because Lorde, I think, is like the same age as me, almost exactly, bar a few months.
Oh,
So seeing her on stage when I was like 16, 17, being like, I'm a failure, wait, was trippy. But it was a great show. And she did her signature little dinosaur hands dance that she does when she does, you know, live performances sometimes. But yeah, not the hugest fan of Solar Power. I feel like it had some, you know, some earworms, that album, but just thematically didn't really catch on with me at all. It was kind of almost going against some of the stuff she was talking about in Pure Heroine and a bit of Melodrama, kind of embracing the more vapid kind of celebrity lifestyle. But I have heard some of the people who weren't super into Solar Power are into this new one. I don't think I've heard anything from it. I might have heard a few seconds of one of the songs that leaked before the album came out, but not enough to remember it. So going in blind, all right?
what is this album called?
The album is called Virgin, which, you know, shout out to the airline.
That is
shout out-
actually the first thing that I think of when I hear the name.
Shout out to the extra olive oil that comes in this form as well.
Yes.
There's probably a few more things I could reference, but I think that's sufficient. Just by looking at the album art, I think this one's going to be maybe a little bit more biological, perhaps. Maybe a little bit more sexual than she's been in the past. I was confused because I know nothing
It
about
almost looks like
anatomy
it
or
almost, well, no,
medical
that's definitely
procedures.
not part of. Oh,
I'm guessing it's like, what is there? Isn't there like a contraceptive method that's really like deep into?
I'm like, this will make sense if you're Googling at home. The album art, it looks like a Polaroid on its side.
Oh,
Do you see it? Just because
a little bit.
That's all. But this is clearly like what, a pelvis
Yeah.
X-ray.
Let's kick off track number 1, Hammer.
There's a heat in the pavement, my mercury's ovulation when you're holding
Ovulation?
hammer.
Shout out to biology.
Everything anyone with a snake tongue, I'll show him the chambers of my some days I'm a woman, some days I'm a man.
There's our beat.
Go to Canal Street, they're piercing my ears. It's a beautiful life, so I play truant. I mean to do it.
Ooh.
I might have from the edge.
Definitely sounded like an opener. Like we got the kind of ease into some of the energy we might come to expect throughout the album, and then eased into the beat as well.
That stereo effect that we opened with and then stayed with us as the song started to build up. I really, really liked it. Kind of made me feel like something was kind of like rotating me. And now that I'm doing this motion in real life and then thinking that the album art is an X-ray, I'm like, oh, maybe it's like an MRI scanner.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're the ones that spin, right?
I think so,
The
yeah.
donuts, yeah. Maybe it's linked, maybe it's not. But it was a joy to sort of like hear and get that sense of movement. I feel like a lot of the structure in this song, some of like the way that the beats drop and the way that they've been composed feels very Lorde-esque to me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too dissimilar. So Pure Heroine had a few moments that were a bit more abrasive. They were a bit more experimental. Melodrama was, I don't want to say a little bit more derivative, but it was a little bit more familiar when it comes to pop construction. And this kind of reminds me of that kind of way that she would work with her team to construct songs. And also, we get introduced to kind of an energetic yet soft pop instrumental palette.
Which is kind of like, I remember reading an article that was commenting about, I think this was like when Bad Guy by Billy dropped, that kind of era. And it was like the beginning of the term like whisper pop starting to be used. And this article was saying like people like Lorde paved the way so that whisper pop could come, but then people like Lana then paved the way so that Lorde could run. But but I'm just like, coming back to this, it was very lyric driven, and it was very, and you could hear her. She's got a very distinctive voice. She
does.
If you hear Lorde singing, you know it's Lorde.
And I was worried we might lose that because of the way that naturally artists become more and more produced in some cases, but I do like that it's still signature Lorde in terms of the vocal delivery, so big ups on that. We went to a few places lyrically on this one. Hammer, when you've got a hammer, everything's a nail. The other line that got me was falling for toxic people. Like, it wasn't necessarily the line, but talking about everyone I fall for is like snake-tongued, but then also reflection back on self. I jerk tears and I'm paid to do it.
So clearly the song is like talking, like from Lorde's perspective.
Yeah.
But like, who is this other party that she's singing about? You could read it that it is romantic relationship, right? And it's like dealing with a romantic partner. I don't know if it's love or if it's ovulation, like, if it's just being like very primal energy. You could read that when you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Again, that's sort of like lust. However, I also am just keeping an open spot in my head. I'm like, maybe it's not a romantic partner and maybe it's a relationship in a different sense. And I think I'm just being primed potentially by when we listened to Porter Robinson recently, and what could be seen as a romantic partner in a lot of the lyrics that he was writing about there was actually about his relationship with either fans or with the media and the industry in general, and it was just being described using normally linked to romantic relationships.
Let's go to track 2 and see what was that has in store for us. I think this one was one of the ones that dropped with a music video before the album.
A place in the city, I cover up all the mirrors. I can't step out into the street alone in a sea. MDMA in the back garden, blow our pupils up. We wake from a dream, well baby, what was that? I stare at the painting, I try to let but it should never be enough for
I like how subtle and like almost half-assed that little melody is. It's like barely there. So I think I do remember hearing little bits of this one, but not as a song, just as like a little snippet and then I click off. Just musically, I think we're getting a return to a technique that Lorde and team were using on Pure Heroine, where it was a lot of deconstructed elements and deconstructed textures used in isolation from each other. So you could kind of hear them. They sound a little bit out of place sometimes, but in the context of the song and where they're placed, it kind of almost comes together as its own little groove. So we had little textural moments here and there, but they weren't like distinct instruments or through lines. And I thought that was fun.
I picked up on the texture thing as well. Little bits and pieces floating in there. There was like a little, definitely created by some kind of like synth plugin
Synth
or
or
something
sample
like
or
that. Or like
something.
that little like tweeting type thing that was floating in the back there. or like they had like some like textural, like percussive type things. And my hand is gesturing to, again, they're really leaning into this like stereoscopic feeling here, because when you listen to the mix, and make sure that your headphones are not turned to mono, that they're on stereo, because you'll be missing a lot.
Make sure you don't edit in mono as well. Me from 3 months ago.
This song continues lyrically to build the suggestion that we are talking about from past experiences in relationships or interactions with people.
Yeah.
The chorus sounds quite...
Reflective.
Yeah, sure.
Reminiscent.
Reminiscent. Maybe it was very reminiscent.
Interestingly, like you mentioned relationships and stuff like that. I'm almost wondering if between the previous track and this one, the difference that I'm getting is that we're talking in this one about potentially a single relationship that we're returning back to in our minds, versus in the first track, the kind of surface level multiple relationships. Whereas this is the one that's stuck. This is the one that comes with me when I'm out with friends. Because if I remember correctly, and I could be getting this law wrong, but I think Lorde was in a long-term relationship with somebody from early in her career.
Age 17.
I think this person might be the one that she broke up with and then went on to write melodrama about.
Okay.
A lot of melodrama about.
Okay.
I could be wrong again, but I'm getting a very kind of, I've had multiple experiences with love after Us, but I keep looking back at Us and I'm thinking, what was that? Something about that was different.
Something about that was maybe a pivotal or a transformative or a formative experience, or just something where you had takeaways and learnings that stay with you, and you kind of take that with you in your future experiences. Listening to the song in the first chorus, my brain went too fast and I just heard indigo haze, and I'm like, what are we smoking that produces an indigo, like a purple haze? And then I'm like, oh no, it's Indio. There's no G there.
Yeah, I cheated. Do you want to know the answer?
What do you mean you cheated?
California.
Oh, did you just look it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because originally I was like, oh, because indica is a strain of marijuana, and she mentioned MDMA in one of the previous lines. Or one of the lines after.
The first line of the chorus is.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, maybe she's talking about another kind of drug tinged experience, but no, I think she's talking about a place, the haze of Indio in California.
I wonder what's significant about Indio in California. Just like the last song, she mentioned a specific Channel Street.
Yeah.
Chanel Street.
I could be wrong, but I think she's moved to the US since living in New Zealand pre kind of fame.
Makes sense.
I don't have a pun for this one. Number 3, Shapeshifter.
Chewing gum.
Oh, like chewing gum.
Don't hide when
Who is this? Who is she?
Little synth. Hello.
I gotta stop everything. I've been the ice, I've been the flame, I've been.
Okay.
How'd I shift shape like that? I shake say I've been the fruit.
This beat is so weird.
I have thoughts.
My overarching thing on this song is, musically mostly, but go ahead.
I'm going to start here.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm not the most familiar with Lorde's discography.
Yeah.
But would you say that this, the things that they were doing inside this composition, especially with all the different, say, instrumentation, etc., was kind of very different for what has been done in the past?
For what she has done in the past? Principally, no, but the exact instruments that were used in this one, yes.
Okay, because I feel like it was a very experimental like track for Lorde, is the impression that is that I'm taking away from this on a couple of fronts. One is the vocalization. When it opened, and I'm pretty sure I had a visceral reaction to this, you can roll the tapes.
Chewing gum?
I was just like, ooh, who is this person? What is this persona? I'm like, I fuck with this energy. Okay. It didn't sound like Lorde. Like if I didn't know it was a Lorde track and then I heard that sort of like spoken word, I wouldn't have recognized, like it didn't sound like her voice. It was definitely like channeling this like this kind of like kind of energy. When she then started singing then I'm like, now it sounds
Yeah,
like
if
a
I
voice
was
again.
dropped in halfway through, I would have been more
Yeah,
familiar with
absolutely,
it.
right? And you could be forgiven, I think, if you thought it was a feat, like if there was someone featured to do that. But that was the first thing, like, okay, I think we're experimenting something here with like channeling energy. In the previous 2 tracks, there were moments where none of it was like a spoken word section or like a bitch track section.
Yeah.
It was all of like her breathy, singy song kind of style. But there were a few lines in there, and I only just picked up on them as a vocalist of like, she's trying to emote this line, and to emote the line, you want to give some attitude to it.
Yeah.
But, and I have the same issue, we're from Australia/New Zealand, very similar accents. We're very like westernized accents from these 2 countries as well, as opposed to having some kind of like twang from having a migrant background. And we're both kind of middle class, so they're very neutral, blah, blah, blah accents that just don't sound that good when we try to rap and give attitude. There is no attitude to give.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from the inner city of Sydney.
Yeah.
I don't know where she's from, but you know, it's a very, you know, it's not like it's Hilltop Hoods is a good example of an Australian band, very Australian accent, but they can do the attitude because they have a bit of a different twang going in their accent. My accent, just not worth it.
Yeah, my rap career is not taking off anytime soon.
Absolutely. Look,
either.
unless I'm like doing a rap from one of the female parts in Hamilton, that I can pull off. But anything else, So that was giving me that. So I'm like, maybe in this track, we're trying to channel a different energy, a different persona to give this spoken word with attitude. And I didn't think it delivered on attitude.
Yeah, I thought it was strange.
It was very different. It was very different.
Yeah.
I'm undecided sort of like how I feel about it, but I can see creatively maybe what they were trying to push and experiment with.
So I'm right there with you on every single point you've made. The one that I would add is I thought I'm really bad with stringed bowed instruments.
Oh, I
forget what it's cello, double bass. I don't know.
Definitely double bass kind of vibe.
That was not doing it for me in this song.
Okay.
Not in this song. In another song, maybe, not in this one. It kind of sounded like a sub-in. Like they were gonna change it and for the final mix, but they didn't get around to doing it. So they kind of have just left this.
Yeah,
like I think the kind of string moment would have worked better for me if it came in after a break and it signified the like next stage of the song. It came in weirdly, it left, and then it came back, and it came back better.
It came back better.
But the first little tinge of it kind of like, it put me off. I think Devil's Advocate, I can explain away some of the weird vocal delivery and some of the like things that seem out of character with thematically. We come back to, there's a line in the song, I become her again. We're talking about a shapeshifter. We're talking about, I have been someone who I'm not sure I actually am. So I'm almost wondering, could that weirdness be almost a little bit intentional in putting us in that space? It might not be, it might be a reach, but I also think on the lyrics side of things, I like what this song is doing. I think it's a good song for me to kind of get in the headspace of Lorde's kind of like almost, what would you call it? Like typhoon past few years of like being the hot mess at the club, like falling in love, or maybe not falling in love, and that's the problem, like getting with people who then she ditches right after. Then she sees one person when she's like, I don't want to let him leave alone. And she kind of like thinks back to who she was in the past and when she did fall for someone. And I'm getting that chaos and I'm feeling it. And I think that song is succeeding in that for me. All right, next up is Man of the Year. Back to the man lyric, I guess.
Who is the man? That's
Lorde,
what
are you the man? Little bass, Lorde.
It's delicious.
Sirens sing overnight.
Second mention of sirens.
Violent, sweet music. Take my knife and I cut the cord. Now I'm broken up.
Okay, Miss Reverb.
Mouthwash, jerk off. Don't love me like this. Remember my coaching my shoulders, my end of the year.
Drum is super interesting. Oh,
Okay, so for everything that was textural and going on in the previous track, compared to everything that's textural and very percussive, the sort of like staccato, like playing with like rhythm in this one,
Yeah.
I loved.
Yeah.
And this felt, okay, my brain was like vibing with it.
First time I remember Lorde coming in with a guitar focused track, at least for the start of the track. I don't think she's used like a naked bass with like a bit of guitar came in as well afterwards as well.
Perhaps it was a virgin.
Perhaps
A virgin bass.
a virgin bass. What I did also like is we kept analog through most of it, and then towards the end we brought in like I think just a fuzzy pad synth, and then also we had the drums drop. And what I thought was really interesting about the drums is analog drums, but very gated sounding. So as soon as the drum kind of sound ends, it doesn't linger. It chops.
I really loved the vocalizations in this song. I feel like I heard Lorde's voice in a way that I've never heard before. I know I haven't heard many Lorde songs though, but it's not that we didn't get any of that whisper sing-song that she's so well known for, and that sound that she does so well. Here, it was, I think, there was a lot of playing with like rhythm and being staccato to like punctuate words.
Yeah.
And then, and I love this, I would love to hear her sing more in this register, where I think it was the chorus, where she goes higher, and all of a sudden we're getting this head voice, and it was very full, and also like a clear bubbling brook from some mountain spring, because it's New Zealand. So you know it's fresh and you know it's delicious.
But is it in New Zealand though? Because we are now living in the States.
Well, she's Kiwi made, so you know it's still 100% authentic Kiwi. No, I'm not going to attempt. If you want to see my attempt, go watch the episode on the Beth. Horrendous.
Straight to jail.
My attempt at a Kiwi accent was horrendous. The Beth's beautiful, not horrendous. We've been exploring lyrically throughout several songs duality.
Yeah.
The first song, Sometimes I'm a Woman, Sometimes, and the last song, there was a lot of different examples of A compared to B.
Yeah. This is B completely then, you think?
You know what? I just think the way that I read is that it's potentially all of Lorde's POV.
Okay.
And tapping into maybe she resonates a duality within herself, and within her identity there. When she says, "Hear it for the man of the year," I think she's talking about herself.
One thing that I did notice, and it's not lyrics, it kind of is lyrics, a few little Americanisms going on in that track, like using colloquial terms like "gone" as for going to, or "bout" for about. It felt a little bit strange for me because those aren't really like common parlance in New Zealand and Australian like slang or shorthand. I wonder if this is intentional so that she's conveying the POV of someone else, or is she really kind of leaning into the Americanization of her post-20s life? I don't know. Because if I heard a "gone" in Pure Heroine, I would have been taken so far out of it straight away. But I guess we are now many years into relocating. Polar opposite of the man of the year, we have the favorite daughter.
I was a singer, you were my fan. Some notes I don't hit. In it for your love, 'cause I'm an actress. Everywhere I run, I'm always running. Now that every day the plane takes off, to be your favorite daughter. To be as brave as my mother.
I liked this track for a few reasons.
Firstly, I like that she spelled favorite correctly.
Thank you. Immediately, the first couple things that I noticed, and this is reaffirmed later in the track, we have some Pure Heroine-esque production. I'm taken back a little bit to the Pure Heroine days. We have the edgier, very electronic, very obviously electronic, intentional production. But I'm getting some of the melodrama vocal delivery, where it's still whispery, but it's not as whispery as Pure Heroine. It's more singy, but it's kind of her finding her footing, but coming off very sincere and all of that. What I did also think was very indicative of that style was we had a little moment where we cut to silence and we re-entered with a bit of a whispered vocal into the full production.
I look like your brother, I think
Yeah.
the line was.
That's something that Lorde did a lot earlier on, the cut to silence and then the whisper. Homemade Dynamite does that fantastically, a few songs in Pure Heroine. So I like the nods to that. We didn't get that so far in the album, and I like that we've gotten it.
I was in two minds. I was trying to figure out, okay, all of these lyrics could potentially be her singing about her fans, except with the references to being your favorite daughter. So it was every day the plane takes off, and every night the room fills up with people who are convinced I'm not just some kid faking it for your love. And that made me feel like, okay, it's describing like maybe the tour life, and then, you know, the concert halls filling up. But I think more as the song went on, I think it's just about maybe a relationship with someone in her family, like maybe her parents. Well, obviously daughter, that would be parents.
I think it was her mother because of the last line as well.
Breaking my back. Yep, I missed that. But yeah.
And I like that we got some quite specific moments in there. We've, you know, obviously we're talking about love and emotion and sometimes I guess hormones as well and then drugs and all of that. But I like that we take a very unabashed kind of genuine, non-pop stereotypical subject matter like relationship with parents, but also through that relationship with fame. And we put it front and center in a song like this. You mentioned fans. I mean, oftentimes a lot of people's biggest fans are their parents, right? So I could see it working for both kind of angles.
Yep.
Yeah, as I said, probably one of my favorite tracks on the album so far. Next up, Current Affairs. There's the kick.
Till it cooled my blood.
Very dry vocal processing, which is interesting.
My bed is on fire.
Okay, sample.
Just to take my pearl. I'm so scared you ever lie.
I don't know about this spoken word.
Once you
That was another one of those bordering on tracks.
Other than that moment, I was really liking this track.
Yeah, me too.
Another one that opened with just guitar.
Yeah, and a dry, kind of less processed vocal as well.
What does that mean? You said dry processed
So-
vocal.
No reverbs on it. When the line ends, you don't hear a lingering trail. It's just the natural voice in a treated room, probably. So like no reverberation, no echoing, nothing like
Because
that.
to me, it sounded like Lorde classic sound is this whisper sing style. And it's always, I don't know whether she doubles the vocals or whether it's reverb. And
Yeah, it's usually doubled.
okay, well then it was doubled but no reverb.
I don't even
Because it
think
was still here.
right at the start. I don't know if it was doubled. It might have.
No, the entire song.
I might
The
not have
entire
caught
song.
it.
Yeah, which creates this like slight, again, stereoscopic type feeling. And you know that it's double or like something, whatever the technique is, that they do it because in the first two tracks on certain keywords, it would be like normal vocal production. And then the last just word would just be a single voice track.
Yeah,
To like really
for
punch.
emphasis.
Yeah, that's correct. And so this was definitely, whether it's a vocal doubling or something.
That little spoken word moment felt so weird to me. It didn't feel right. But I think we both kind of had a bit of a visceral, like, moment there.
I've actually felt a bit bad with the way that I reacted to that so much. So I apologize.
Sorry,
in
Lord.
advance. And maybe if I bribe our producer enough, he won't include it in the edit. The song is returning to, I think, what we explored in an earlier track in Hammer, where we're in a situation, relationship, or hookup, dating kind of situation. Here we're clearly like having sex and like being in like dating someone.
Yeah.
And it's just not healthy. It's not a healthy situation. It's not something that we, as in the the protagonist, Lorde's point of view, is happy with, or is like it's creating distress
Yeah.
for her. I really liked some of that lyricism at the beginning where you tasted my underwear, I knew we were fucked. So it was like using the word fucked, clearly like describing either about to have sex or already just had sex, but also that we're screwed, that we're stuffed.
Double entendre.
Yeah, and I liked that.
I got the sense that a lot of the struggle with that moment that she was describing also felt a little bit like we were calling back to maybe a generational gap, because she mentioned watching a tape of quote unquote their honeymoon. I'm assuming it's her parents, and kind of thinking about the way that other people that she knows, maybe in her family, have kind of recounted their experience with the relationship and love versus what she's experiencing now in the moment, and feeling very whiplash.
I like the current affairs. I also think it's another maybe double entendre there. The chorus goes, now I'm crying on the phone, swearing nothing's wrong, blame it on current affairs.
Yeah.
So it's both like, I'm crying and upset, but I'm telling everyone it's because of things going on in the world.
Yeah.
But also this song, Current Affairs, maybe the song, this is her current affairs.
Yeah.
Being in this bad relationship and this bad position is her current affairs. I completely missed the feat in this, at the end there.
There's a feature in this one?
Well, according to this lyric sheet, it says Dexter Dapp.
Oh, it might have been that weird sample that we kept hearing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, because I couldn't figure out what it was saying. But according to this lyric sheet, it's quite confronting. Girl, your pussy's so good, it gripped me good.
They probably wanted to keep it kind of a little bit obscured for the
But maybe
the radio play.
you knew the reference.
All right. Well, next one's a short one. Clear Blue, just under 2 minutes.
The ecstasy testing
Imogen?
for pregnancy, praying in MP3.
Praying in
I'm
MP3.
scared to let you see into the home machine, leave it all on the field. I'm nobody's daughter yet, baby. I try letting the answer be part of the dance. My hips moving faster, I rode you till I cry. I wish I kept the clear blue.
And we'll be back after these very important messages. Sometimes life gets too busy and you just forget to take your pills. In those moments after a night of passion, it's important to double check where your status lies. Clear Blue.
I was gonna
The over-the-counter pregnancy test.
Obviously, elephant in the room, vocoder or doubled octave vocal or something, probably a vocoder. Hello, Imogen, we are in the room. Almost like a very modern electro a cappella track.
Yeah, I don't think there was any instrumentation in that track.
So.
And it felt very intimate, but still full because of the vocoder. I really like, and this is aging Lorde, and it's also aging me. It's aging all of us in that first line. After the ecstasy, testing for pregnancy, praying in MP3. You're like, listening to music to help like deal with the moment. And I'm like, A, can relate. B, yeah, referencing music as MP3 is certainly...
It's a very mid-2000s thing. Shout out to the iPod Touch, the true in-between device before it was completely phased out for smartphones. Very sexually kind of explicit song, I think.
I agree. But in a way that the protagonist is feeling very, like they're liking this situation, as opposed to past songs where they were not digging, like in the preceding song, we're like, no, this is not,
it's not
what I'm vibing. They're definitely very vibing this moment.
Yeah. I'm also curious about, because it does sound like a quite positive sensual experience though, but just conscious that Favorite Daughter was 2 tracks ago and we get the line, I'm nobody's daughter, yeah baby, I'm free, I'm free. It's almost like a shedding of that feeling, or maybe that's kind of what we're being led to believe Lorde is doing, but really like she's still contending with the more innocent kind of side of, like it's all a complete picture.
I think that's a very deep take on it. I didn't go so deep when I was listening to it. And there were like all these like very poetic analogies, which I feel like I would not, if I read them out loud, I would make them sound terrible. Yeah, especially the line, actually, I'm nobody's daughter. I'm like, your metal detector hits my precious treasure. See, it just sounds really bad when I say it. I'm scared to let you see into the whole machine, leave it all on the field. So, you know, this moment isn't about like emotional vulnerability. It's not about having that emotional intimacy that you might get in a relationship. It's literally about this amazing, sexy time. And I guess the reference to Clear Blue being the pregnancy test that you can get from a pharmacy, drugstore if you're from the other side of the world, is I think being a reference of, you know, you had unprotected sex and then you might be anxious if you fell pregnant and then you do the test and it's like, oh,
yeah, it's
I'm not pregnant. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to modern medicine and the reproductive tools that we have at our disposal to make previously less trivial matters like that more trivial.
Also, kudos to the Clear Blue marketing and branding team, because as someone who is definitely not in the market for pregnancy tests.
Next track is GRWM.
And do you know what that stands for?
I do not.
Oh, really?
No.
Get ready with me. It's a style of social media video.
I'm furthest from the target market of that.
Yeah, okay. So like, yeah, whether it's Instagram or TikTok, you'd have it's really hard to say as an acronym out loud. GRWM. No one ever says, you would say, get ready with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it would be like the opening shot of them like just waking up in bed. Be like, wait a second, who set up the camera?
Exactly.
How did you hit record?
Why is your eyeliner on already?
Why does your makeup look so good?
All right, well, let's get ready with Lorde.
Soap, washing him off my chest.
Soap.
It's another sex reference.
Keeping it alive.
Yes, but soap.
Not on.
Let's get ready.
Thinking it.
Nice little sparkly synth.
Wide hips, tooth tip, 96. Baby, if I ain't know who you wanna be. Wide hips, soft lips, my mama's trauma. I've been looking for.
Do you feel ready with Lorde?
I do. I really like the lyrics of this song. And I think also its placement in the album just really enriched the lyrics even more for me. So Get Ready With Me, the opening verse, literally getting ready. It alludes to sort of the continuation. We've just had this amazing sex and now it's either the next morning or whatever, and we're like getting ready for the day. And kind of then also getting ready to return back to the daytime and my job and everything that we're talking about, saying favorite daughter, about now I'm working back towards like the goals that I'm working on, these other
Life
things.
goes on.
Do you know what I mean? Like I had, you know, I did that last night and now I'm like coming back to the daily programming.
We're looking in the mirror, both, you know, literally and metaphorically. And I feel like also in that reflection, there was a line about 2009 me or something. Like we're also reflecting back to us now versus the past.
Yes.
So it's multi-dimensional, multifaceted, I don't know.
Well, I think it's really commenting about how Lorde sees herself and how she can also carry herself into facing her job and her music and her career now. It's told through the analogy, or like just to connect that thematically with the previous song of Getting Ready. But now it's also like getting ready to how she engages with her career and her music now and reflects upon how she used to feel about that when she was younger. Describing herself in a very matter-of-fact way. Got wide hips, chipped teeth, got scars on my skin. There's like sort of a generational trauma or trauma carried on by like being raised by her mother or connected to her mother. And now she's grown up into this woman where those things maybe don't plague her like they used to when she was
they're just aspects
a teenager and a young woman. She kind of like own those things now that she's a grown woman there. Pink Galaxy was interesting. Like Pink Galaxy,
I was confused,
and then again, colored lens. I'm in the process of buying a new phone. So it's just like, Is this like a celebrity collab of like a new Samsung phone that's gonna get dropped?
Oh, that's a reach.
Or like, does she have a Samsung and she just loves the color pink, so it's in a pink phone case? I'm like, pink galaxy left undressed. Well, we're getting dressed. She's been describing a lot of her physical attributes. I'm like, well, maybe it's something to do with like her clothing, or and then I was like, oh, like galaxy, stars. That I'm like, that doesn't fit either. And I'm like, wait a second, 2000 and me, I'm like probably like teenage-ish years. Maybe it's like just super pimply as a teenager.
Oh, like acne?
And just like like all of those insecurities that we have when we're teenagers. But now she's
Never
just
heard
like,
of it referred to that
no,
way.
me neither. But I'm just trying to think like pink dots. What are pink dots? I don't know.
I mean, it
but
does fit. It does make sense.
left undressed, which was just tying to the chorus of like, where she was describing other physical features and not feeling like, not sort of being self-conscious by them.
Missed opportunity for the collab with Accutane. I like the little candid moment we had here, and I feel like it fits in very well with where we are in the album. Speaking of, we're in the final stretch. Got a couple left. Number 9 is Broken Glass. Someone's bought a drum machine. Reading through the manual.
I let myself get sucked in. Did I cry myself to sleep about that? Cheat about I wanna punch the mirror. It's just broken glass. I think that it's love. I wanna punch the mirror. What if it's just broken glass? Keep the faith. Broken glass. I wanna punch the mirror. Broken glass.
I feel like if any track was to try and go after success on the charts and things like that, it'd probably be this
Yeah.
as a package.
It had the earworm factor, it had the listenability, it had the still signature Lorde factors in it as well. It felt like a Lorde track. And it had the message.
It's describing a lot of different difficult times, challenges, maybe there were illnesses and conditions that she's had to battle through, mental health as well. I'll just throw in this. The first line, Mystique is dead. My first brain was like, oh my God, another drag queen. We've lost so many this year already.
I thought you were going to say the X-Men character.
Then the second thing was like, wait, from the MCU. The way that she referenced things here, sucked in by arithmetic, you know, like talking about like the algorithm, talking about like what's trending, which can also then, I guess, refer to like the media, social expectations. Felt great to strip, new waist to hip. I hate to admit just how much I paid for it. It's like maybe getting like kind of like cosmetic surgery or lipo and things like that to try and fit into the image.
Yeah. See, what I was thinking of immediately, I thought, because we're not talking about, you know, having a hard time with maths in high school or in uni or whatever. We're talking about an abstract, you know, way of using numbers. So in this case, sales figures, you know, traction, charts, whatever. But then I was like, could math and arithmetic literally be weight? Could it be the number on the scales? Because there's a line later in the track, right after the math and arithmetic part, around making weight. So I was wondering, was it just a bit more plain than my kind of first assumption, and it's just talking about dealing with weight gain?
I know where our brains go, and I don't think we should like try and go abstract too much. I feel like Lorde has been very raw with her depictions and what she's talking about here. So it's not going to be some like, code words.
It's not commentary on the hero's journey or anything
kind
like
of
that.
thing. Do you know what I mean? Very much self-image, right? The chorus, I want to punch the mirror to make her see that this won't last. I'm like, who is her? Later, it also says in the chorus, won't outrun her if you don't hit back. And like, is this a reference to mother like we had in previous tracks? Is it a reference to herself?
I think it's
and
herself.
that's what I landed on in the end.
Yeah.
And then I just really like that poetry about like, yeah, it's just broken glass. It's just a mirror reflecting something, like it's actually not substantial, and we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves about it.
At the end of the day, it's a positivity song and it's a self-image song, but it doesn't come off as, you know, squeaky, clean and cheery and you know, go get 'em.
It's empowering in a way that's not on the nose.
Yeah.
And I think I really like this track. So throughout the whole song, we've described all of the challenges and the insecurities, etc. And the chorus is very about empowerment of like, well, fuck that, smash the mirror. But the last chorus then sort of doubts whether has that moment of fear and anxiety about it. I want to punch the mirror to make it see that this won't last. That's the same as before. It might be months of bad luck. But what if it is just broken glass? Maybe it's not superstition. Maybe the things that I fear in my head is actually not, it's just things that are in my head and it is just broken glass.
Second to last song, If She Could See Me Now.
I hear the voices.
Second time we've been in the
of
city.
ancients. They're calling for us. Got me lifted, feeling so gifted. I'm in the gym, I'm exercising. Oh, my demon. Baby, whenever you breathe, I wanna be hurt like that. Hope you find her. You can tell them I went crazy. If that's what they watch it happen, like an angel looking down.
What is that?
If she could.
There was like this weird, like initially at first instinct, I thought it was like, oh, is it a steel string acoustic guitar? No, the ding, 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 ding. Like it sounded more like a chord being played rather than like a melody. I thought it sounded really weird. There was a little thing, I don't know what it was. And it was only there for a couple of times.
Overall,
I
I
think
dig this song.
we're feeling empowered again.
I am feeling
in this one.
empowered. I think Lorde is feeling empowered. We are feeling empowered. I, again, love the wordplay. Verse 2, in the gym, I'm exorcising all my demons. I'm like, hey, poet. Is it guitar? Like when it opens, those short bursts, that's some kind of guitar.
Yes, or like a, could be
Or
a
a thing?
a
Okay,
chord.
cool. Whatever it is.
Yep.
It gave a real dearth. I don't know. DIRTH. Is
Okay.
that a word?
Are you combining dirt and
If it
girth?
is it the correct? I don't know. Grit.
Yeah.
It was giving me like gumption.
Yep.
Okay, these two words definitely I think are fitting. And a lot of like gusto and like it gave me this punchy energy, and Lorde's vocals really matched that as well. It had a lot of like indignation. Is that the right word?
You're just pulling out. You've got the dictionary on your phone right now. I can see it line word by word. You've
it's
got the
not.
entire dictionary.
It's the lyric sheet. This is welcome to the experience.
Welcome
of
to
people who have
Encyclopedia
sing.
Britannica. We're going to go through every word.
It was making me feel a lot of things, and I really loved it. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
No, I got the empowerment as well. I got the strength from tough times. I got the, I'm not playing by the rules if they don't work for me and who I am and who I want to be.
There was a particularly nuanced moment in the chorus, in the lyrics of it. It goes, the chorus goes, baby, whenever you'd break me, I'd watch it happen like an angel looking down. And so this is, to me, saying like when you break me, so that could be the other person that has been referenced in past songs. Maybe it's the mother, maybe it is career, maybe it is the issue, whatever, if it was like mental challenge, illnesses or whatever, other challenges that she's faced. But I like that she used the word angel because it gives me like almost like guardian angel, and that she can sort of almost like be a third party to herself to then look after herself when these external things are trying to bring her down. The nuanced moment then comes after that. It made me a woman being hurt like that. And at first I thought, what, do only women feel pain? And then like all of these like connotations about like being the fairer gender, the fairer sex, and they're more emotional and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, that doesn't feel very empowering to me. And like, no, actually, I think it's a reference exactly to that traditional like gender roles and how women are seen as being like when men are then feeling like they have this power over women and commenting on that dynamic.
Maybe also a little bit of a reference back through the album to Man of the Year and kind of using woman as now the character trait that goes along with empowerment versus the almost fake empowerment that Man of the Year had in it. I'm curious now, how do we end? Because we've been empowered for 2 tracks in a row.
As for me, I'm going back to the clay, like clay being the earth, origins. This album's called Virgin. I don't know what that's insinuating, and maybe the final track will shed some light on that.
Yeah, aptly named David.
Oh, dark day, worthy opponent. Flint at the sunset tower. You said, open your mouth. I did. Why don't we run? Cause you dialed me out when it got hard. Pure heroin mistaken for featherweight.
Name drop.
Belong to anyone that I knew how to do.
Ooh. Love that tremolo effect. That was such a direct, no filter, straight to you, David, I'm assuming from the title of the track, but also like wrapping up some of the things that we've been through on this album.
What a powerful...
I'm so curious because I feel like there's little bits and pieces lore-wise that I don't know about that would make this make a lot more like immediate sense. But just at a glance, I get like a reflection on one of the themes that we had earlier in the album where we were comparing the first love or the early love with the newer experiences that we're having, and it's not quite the same kind of thing. And now I feel like we're tackling that sentiment from a different angle of being trapped by it, of being previously owned by it or something. And then we're kind of, through our reflections on the album, coming to a different conclusion, breaking free, being ourselves.
The position she was in then and her perspective on things back then compared to all of these realizations and the growth and strength that she's developed since then in her current day self, reflecting on those earlier days. It sounds like there is a specific person. I'm guessing it's going to be someone related to management or production, as it is with a lot of artists. Was I just someone to dominate? Open your mouth. I did, which connects back to a previous reference in Current Affairs. So I just pulled up the track list, Current Affairs.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the lyric was something like, he spat in my mouth like he was praying,
Yeah.
like it was a prayer. Spitting as a kink in sex is often a sign of like dominant, and the person receiving that is then the submissive person in that dynamic. So that's a reference to this again, but also because also a reference to the earlier part of her career. Open your mouth could be like being a singer.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna again like as a product, as a thing that we need to make and then sell. You know, like open your mouth, work for this. She's also explored, you know, substance usage throughout other songs as well. Maybe Open Your Mouth is also about that side of things, and just being in a very vulnerable position in this earlier time.
Yeah. And speaking of earlier time, mention of Pure Heroin, the album.
Yeah, I thought that was a really, the way she referenced that was nice.
Yeah.
And wove that in.
Kind of said to me that Pure Heroin, while it was her, you know, first major success, was also kind of the launch pad for her to start being taken advantage of by industry types.
But then at the same time, with the double, if we do a double entendre, Pure Heroin, little p, little h.
Yeah.
So just as words, being like a heroine, being like a hero, being a strong person, being mistaken for a featherweight. So people thought she could be easily taken advantage of, but actually she's this very strong heroine to be reckoned with. It kind of reflects everything that we explored with our protagonist, with Lorde, throughout this, right? She's described some really difficult times in her life and how it impacted her. She's explored moments in her life where she's been really strong. She's explored motivations that have kept her driven throughout her career as well. She's also reminded us in the story that she is also still, you know, a sexual being, and that like just because there were moments that involved sex or involved substance use, and it had a negative impact on her, that doesn't mean that we should be like, okay, therefore ban all of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There's nuance to it.
Correct. It explored her duality, which I think the more that I've heard throughout the tracks is linked to her identity, to her personality, to her self-expression, and then reflecting on that, how she now perceives things, and now what she sees is like is important and not important, and how she's also found strength to then tackle these things.
One of my qualms with solar power was it was exploring topics, but I didn't feel like I was exploring them with her in a very kind of genuine way, like I felt in albums prior. This is very, very genuine. I feel like I'm taken in, and I'm kind of in Lorde's world, and I'm understanding what she's going through, and I'm understanding as well that a lot of these things are interpreted and processed by her in her own kind of unique way, right? Like, this isn't really sanitized and dressed up for my consumption. It's what Lorde kind of wants to put out.
Tapping into a meta level for a second, it was just what you're saying there about how you felt about solar power.
Yeah.
And I'm forming this opinion because this album has done quite a lot of maybe storytelling of her past history. These things and the things that she described, all of these difficult times happened at some point.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it was around pure heroine beginning. So, was naive, was not, hadn't the trauma of these experiences hadn't sort of expressed themselves yet, because that's too early.
Yeah.
And then melodrama came not too long after that. And then,
years.
Yeah. And then solar power, when did that come out?
Probably 2-3 years ago now.
Okay. All right. So definitely when maybe a lot of these things had then started to then get to a point where they were all the things that she was describing.
Yeah.
And this album is now her on the other side of being able to overcome many of these things. So maybe solar power, just putting out the timeline, was when a lot of these things were happening, and maybe that had an impact or an influence on the album. There's been a lot of it being called Virgin, musically, compositionally, taking a lot of things from her roots, pure heroine days. You said there's been a lot of stylistically coming through there, combined with also other things that she's been developing throughout her career. So maybe this album is a real milestone, and in the years, decades to come, when we look back at Lorde's wonderful discography and her career, it'll be seen as this was kind of a milestone album, perhaps.
Yeah. It was the beginning of an era.
Maybe this is going to be a new, a new era, an evolution of Lorde.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what comes next, and I'm curious to see if Lorde stays in LA or not. I don't know. Yeah, well, that's been us. That's been the show. That's been Lorde. That's been Virgin. And you've been you. You know who you are. And you have subscribed. If you haven't already, now's the time to do it so you don't get called out. And that's it. We'll see you on the next one.